Hey guys, so Aaron here. Today we got the review of the Kohetsu 240 millimeter hap40 Gyoto. I got this knife about 2 months ago, and the reason for the review taking so long is basically hap40's heat treat to 65, I believe, on the Rockwell scale. So it's really hard. So it touts really good edge retention, and I really wanted to see just how good it would keep up in a pro environment over say longer course than Bluetooth and all that, which I can pretty much you know get a good feel on how long that'll just hold its head before I fully have to redo it. Um, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed actually. The edge of it is asymmetrical, which means for this side of the knife, it's sharpened lower than the other side. I believe when I got this knife, the larger of the two bevels was probably set to maybe 5 degrees, so really super low, if not maybe a little lower. And the backside had the traditional like 15-ish degrees. Um, a small problem with knives that are heat treated this high is sometimes they'll be a little chippy when you take them to such a real low extreme edge. I noticed after 3 days of using the box edge that I had some slight micro chipping, which is fine because it also is a real thin blade, right behind the edge and also pretty much all the way through it. It's real thin. So after the fourth day, I decided to put my own edge on it and increase the angle ever so slightly to about 10 degrees. So I have about a 25 all-inclusive degree edge. And to be honest, that was the last time I actually fully redid a burr on it. I've not taken it below the 5K Pro Shapton, and they've just been quick little touch-ups, nothing over, say, maybe a minute, just like almost like quick strop on it, and that's it. And it's lasted me in a professional kitchen for 3 days on just a touch-up edge, which is pretty good. I could go longer on it, but I prefer to have a little better, a little sharper on the long hauls. So I would say I'm very impressed with edge holding. There's only one knife I own that will outperform it in terms of edge holding and all around other things, but that is a custom knife that Pierre Rodrigue made, and that steel it's a totally different steel, and it's actually heat treated higher. But that steel is the only thing that I've ever used that will hold its edge a lot better. But a small trade-off is this knife, pretty much every stone I've almost put it to, natural, synthetics, has taken to it all very well. Whereas the Pierre's Beta knife, naturals with it are very picky about what that steel likes. I think I maybe out of my collection I have two that really like that steel. But it is I haven't really measured it too much, but it is a sandmite construction. So as you can see, the transition line right here from Kohetsu standard stainless steel, which is it's nice, it's fine, but it's scratchy, so it's real soft. So if you like your stuff to look really neat and pretty, you'll want to polish it and buff it out and all that jazz, but not me. I think it does clock in at 240 on the nose, maybe a little more. The handle for the Waz is a simple hoe wood, and I think it is buffalo horn ferrule. For me personally, I kind of wish the handle was about a half-inch longer, because just with me personally, it's a little too nose heavy. So, just my personal taste, I do prefer longer handles, but that's me. There isn't much in the way of distal taper. It finally does start to taper right about here. So probably 2 to 2.5 inches away from the tip area. And when it does, it tapers very nicely. And this is a fantastic cutter. I did get one of the Aogamis from the Kohetsu line 2 years ago, and it wasn't quite to my taste. It was a little thicker and such, so I don't know if they fine-tuned it a little more to keep up with this steel or whatever they did, but I'm sold. The only other little nitpick thing I have is that, everything is eased, but it's not rounded. I do prefer that, but you can do that yourself with no big deal. Yeah, so seriously, that's the only, and those are only minor things, and those are minor things. You can get a new handle, you can round that over, and if you want to keep that nice and polished, keep it nice and polished. I think they sell for $199. I mean, you're getting a really good knife. If you're a home cook and and you use your knife, every, once a day just for your standard meal prep, an edge will probably last you, I'm going to be conservative and say 6 months before you might have to, touch it up a little bit. I've gone 2 months solid, almost, basically on the same edge and just touched it up on, 5,000 grit stone. And it still works really well. And incidentally, this edge on this knife was touched up this morning on the Tanako or Rishiyama or whatever that. It's a 6,000 with 8,000 grit properties or something like that. I do want to kind of keep my reviews kind of centered on, stones that everybody can get, not use natural stones because they wildly can differ. So this is like, pretty much anybody can get this edge basically. Other than that, I mean, we're gonna chop up a few things here. We have just check out edge retention, overall sharpness, and all that good stuff. But I'm almost willing to say this is probably the best knife out there you can almost get. I mean, I've used Konosuke and I've used Honyaki's customs. This really has a lot going for it. So thanks to Mark for finally picking these up, and yeah, man, let's see what we can finally do. So. And I'm not even applying a lot of pressure to these cuts. So, I mean, that's, that's thin, and that's, like I say, and a lot of times, a lot of the knives I'll do, I can get that thin, but not the continual, the constant going like I just did. So, we'll try to get it around the same sweet spot area, and see if it keeps going. Here a little bit on the skin towards the end as it's starting to, it lost that initial sharpness, but as you saw, it still, made confetti out of it. So another ingredient that you see me do a couple times in Salty, Scott Sebastian's with his, an apple is the same kind of same concept because it has a lot of times, like you guys know, they have the wax on there, and apples alone themselves are a real slick skin, so they kind of make a bitch to slice. So we'll do with the core in. So, like I say, we'll try to keep it the same area. So, yeah, like I said, there was, you know, I had no problem with, you know, it losing that, you know, initial, to where, you know, you'll stop and here go, you know, it'll basically just stop going through, you know, product like, you know, a tomato or something like that, where, you know, just, you know, it lost that initial sharpness, so you have to adjust the knife a little bit or adjust your technique to continue on. So I did mention the tip is really nice and thin, which makes it good for going through, you know, product like onion and such. But it's also really good, like let me correct myself a little bit. It's really also good for doing fine detailed work because it is thin enough. It's not a workhorse where things are gonna crack and such. So we have a little radish here and a garlic clove, real small one. We'll see how it does for kind of more detailed work. So basically, why the hell you'd want any radishes done to a micro-brunoise is beyond me, but possible. So we'll do a garlic clove next, which is a little bit smaller. So that's, it can do really fine detailed work. Get a little close to that one cut. As far as the stickage, since it is kind of a, the finish on it is a little more kind of mirrored. It has a little bit of convex to it, not a ton, I'd say. That's Yuri. So, like I say, mine's been scratched up and such, so it kind of took off the, you know, the overall, you know, mirror-ish quality. So it might help with food release a little bit. What, buddy? No, you can't be in the video, bud. So, a little bit, but nothing too severe, actually, which is good. So, you know, nice clean food release, too.